With that, I guess we're going to welcome our guest today, Sammy Tedder. Say hi, Sammy.
Hello, guys. Thanks for inviting me to be here today. Yeah.
Now, this looks like we're moving into some production work of yours.
That's an album I produced. Now, there's a song on there called "From the Land of Many Rivers," and it's an instrumental song. I start calling out all the names, the Native American names of the rivers in Florida.
Oh, wow.
So it was about 30 different rivers. The land of many rivers.
We are.
I lived in Florida for 10 years before I figured out it wasn't Kissimmee.
Yeah, right. Well, try to say Pithla-Chascody.
Big Cypress Swamp.
That's the soundtrack I did for the Big Cypress Swamp, Western Everglades.
Oh.
And I also recorded all the nature sounds that are in the documentary. So I put out an album there, and the soundtrack includes the nature sounds. So
Wow.
you're just like being there.
Yeah.
Pam Laws and I recorded that back in 2012. And
Are these available anywhere? Because I'd love to hear that.
that
Your
one's
website doesn't it have them?
yeah, they're available. And that one's online. You can download it or
SammyTedder.com.
you can stream it. Yeah.
SammyTedder.com.
SammyTedder.com.
Yeah, it's still around. I don't know how long that's going to be there, but you can download that or Spotify or whatever, any of those streaming services. This is Transitions. The first song on there, a friend of mine had terminal cancer, Natalie Provo, and she came over to visit, and I played that song for her, and she says, Transitions. She says, I'm transitioning. And I said, okay, that's the name of the album and the song.
Wow.
it is a transition for me too. I'd gone through this thing with doing those soundtracks for other people, and they kept saying, well, you can't use saxophone in a nature soundtrack in Florida. They wanted me to get banjos and guitars, and the Native American flute was okay with them, but they were starting to give me a hard time about using the sax. And so I said, well, thank you very much. I think I'll just move on. And that's it for us, our working together, because I'm a saxophone player.
Yeah.
And, but it's been great. But so this album was kind of like me saying, okay, I can do an album that doesn't have saxophone on it. So this album has very little sax. It's mostly Native American flute. But it does have some sax. So it was a transition for me from trying to decide what to do in my music. Am I going to try to pursue doing soundtracks for people who don't want saxophone? And I'm not playing gigs anymore. There's no place for me my music doesn't really fit in at a nightclub because my music is it's different.
Yeah.
And so I did this album just to prove to myself I could do a whole album with very little saxophone, and so I did it. But then it also, I got to the point where, if I want to use saxophone in multimedia, like, film, that I'll just do the film too myself.
Oh, well, there you go.
and do what I want with the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
That was definitely a turning point for you, I believe.
Yeah, it was. And to me, I've enjoyed it very much. It's been very gratifying and rewarding just to be able to do it. And I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to get it on TV. I'm not trying to do anything. I just be creative.
You're just doing your creative thing, and you're going into the visual world.
I am,
and
yes.
then into nature very much so. With your recent film that you did that was recognized by the Tallahassee Film Society.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think I was telling you the other day that one day, many years ago, you showed me a slideshow that you had done with music and nature scenes, times with the music, and it just blew my mind. I said, that is so powerful. I never thought about that, know. And of course, it got to be a fairly popular thing for relaxation videos and things like that.
Sure. It all kind of goes back to Tom Hutchison too, because we went up to the mountains one spring break, and he had some cameras from his dad or something. He said, "Here's the camera, take some pictures." Oh, okay. And from there on, I started getting into photography, and being in music all those years beforehand. I started figuring out, well, maybe these two things can work together. And but you have really taken it to a whole nother level with what you're doing.
Thanks.
It's very,
but
very impressive.
that really showed me the power of multimedia, and I had never. I was just into music completely. That was just one dimension, and but music in itself is so magical.
Well, it is, but when you put it to a picture, a setting, a scenery, it can either bring the music down or bring it up, one of the two.
Yeah, it's like it can move the story. It provides emotional cues. In fact, I always call my music, especially like with transitions, music for movies of the mind. Yeah. Because you could sit there and listen to that music in a dark room, and your brain will take you to different places,
create your own visuals
in your own internal visuals. Yeah.
So we're kind of going back to the way it used to be, weren't we? With Tchaikovsky and those guys, they didn't have TV and movies,
Right.
The music carried you.
Right.
And you had to create your own vision.
Yeah, that's right. And I think instrumental music, especially. I mean, against lyrics and all of that, but instrumental music is more universal and goes deeper, even though love, loss, and all that, and with lyrics and hits certain areas of it. But it seems like instrumental music is so more encompassing and takes you into different places.
Writing, instrumentals too. A lot of times I'll write a song, but it'll wind up turning into an instrumental.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'll leave all the melody and the words out of it.
I know exactly what you mean. It doesn't need all that.
Yeah.
This is the way it is just right.
Yeah. Let's talk about some more of these.
Okay.
Blues, dries, and ballads.
Yes. I recorded that album really after I was almost done with it. I said, gosh, it's nothing but saxophone in this thing. And I mean, it has keyboard and drums and bass and all that, which I play on, using MIDI. I play all the parts. But it's still, it's just me. And I decided to ask Mike Andrews on guitar to come in and play. And so he came in and really did a wonderful job and added so much to it. Also, Renee Arbogast on trumpet. He played a couple of solos. And
these are all names that I wanted to work with when I first came to town, but they were already involved with other people in town. So I never got a chance to play with them at all.
Yeah. I worked, whenever I did these documentaries about the Big Cypress Swamp and the Apalachicola River, I met Clyde Butcher. And he is this black and white photographer.
Using 4x5s.
Yeah, this huge, large format cameras. And so he's famous for his Florida material, right? Everglades and Big Cypress Swamp. Well, anyway, he's traveled to Cuba and all over the world, but he decided to go out west, or go all over the continent, really. This is the soundtrack for a DVD of his black and white photography from all over the United States. And that's the Tetons right there.
He's got a picture down here with a big box camera.
Yeah. And so anyway, this is just instrumental music I produced for that. It's kind of big and soothing, kind of grandiose, trying to be.
Well, works very well with his scenery shots because he's very much into scenery things, and he's using that large format camera. You wound up shooting just that one shot you're looking for, rather than shotgunning and looking all around and taking all the shots. But he concentrated, like Ansel Adams did,
right,
on very much his one shot. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were working on those documentaries, I would go out with him, and because my job was to record nature sounds and do the music, and so I would go out with the film crew and him and watch them work, and he would sit there, whereas the guy was with the Elam Stoltzis was the cinematographer. He was filming all the time. Clyde's just sitting there waiting for the clouds to get just right.
Time. That one shot.
Yeah. I mean, and if there weren't any clouds, he would pack up.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to have clouds. I mean, especially in Florida where it's flat, you got to have those clouds, to be a part of the scene.
Now I'm real interested about this next one.
That's Rita Coolidge.
Right.
I played on one song. I played River Cane flute.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wanted to play sax, but her producer wasn't really into that. And so they wanted to be more of a rock album. But she convinced him. And that made my year, Rita Coolidge, because I've always admired her and her voice. And so for her to say, man, this is it, we got to talk the producer into it. And so she talked him into it. And I did it at home, went through the internet with it. He sent me the tracks without the flute. He actually sent me the tracks with the band and then with the vocal, so I could turn the vocal down if I needed to. And And I added my flute and sent it back to him, and he used some of it. Yeah, I was playing a river cane flute that I made. It's a beautiful little flute that I made from river cane that I got from the Apalachicola River.
Oh, wow. Wow. Is it submerged wood or is it?
No, but it grows in wetlands. It's the only native bamboo in North America. And it used to be very abundant. Oh, I could go into this long thing about it's one of my favorite plants.
Now, well, speaking of...
There's Apalachicola River, yep. Yes, I did the soundtrack for that documentary. This time I brought in Pam Laws to sing a couple of songs. Frank Lindemood played guitar and banjo. Anyway, this was a collaboration where there was a lot of instrumental music on there, but I also brought in, to give it the flavor of the Florida, old-time Florida river, I brought in some really neat, like fiddles and banjo.
And you scored everything. This is all original music.
Yeah, except, like Frank played his own stuff. Frank Lindemood on the guitar and banjo, he played just whatever, because I just played nothing but him, And the fiddle player, he played along on one of my songs, then he played a song by himself. And Pam did an old spiritual called Deep River. And, we didn't talk about that, about Grace and the Mystic, but the way I recorded her every time for Grace and the Mystic and Deep River, that song, is I went to her apartment with my recording gear and recorded her singing it with no accompaniment, nothing in the background. And then I took it back to my studio and started to say, okay, she's in a key, she's in a real key. You didn't have to change anything. And I added the music after the fact and just put her voice in where it needed to go. So it was recorded backwards. Most people record the rhythm, the background, and then the vocalist comes in and sings their part. Well, I did it totally backwards.
It's amazing how she was on pitch.
I was going to say, no pitch pipe or anything.
Right. She just sang perfect pitch. And, rhythmically, there was no metronome on any of it because usually I use a metronome when I'm recording with stuff that has a beat. Mm-hmm. But this was all just flowing music, and it's hard to describe. But she told, with the Spirituals album, she said she'd been listening to Transitions. She says, that album Transitions, I'm about to wear it out. I want to do an album of spirituals, but I want it to be like Transitions. And I don't know what that meant, but she said, I want you to just, whatever you feel will fit with this song. Don't worry about how it sounds like traditionally. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the songs I never even heard before. And some of them I did. I knew how they went. But so anyway, that's how that album was done.
You're playing by ear right along with her.
Yeah, in the background, I'm just filling in chords and working my way through it and just tweaking and, moving her voice around. And
very cool. Well, you obviously like Apalachicola River.
Yeah, that's from the documentary, opening credits, I think.
Oh, okay.
From the film, yeah. I was nominated for an Emmy for that soundtrack.
Now, what is this about? This is impressive.
Oh, yeah. That's the Suncoast chapter of the Emmys. Films that had aired on TV regionally could be nominated for, or could, apply for an Emmy Award. So it was nominated. What does it say? Musical composition and arrangement, yeah.
Nominated for craft achievement, craft specialty, musical composition arrangement.
Yeah. And
is it a winner?
I didn't win, no.
Wow.
But I got a picture of an Emmy.
Yeah.
And I framed it. Believe it.
Yeah.
I was proud to get it.
Amen.
Yeah, it looks great.
Who are these guys?
That's myself and Clyde Butcher and Elam Stoltzfus, the cinematographer and producer of the two major documentaries we did that were on PBS. But, You know, he and I did a lot of films for, you know, state parks have these orientation films when you go to a state park, go to the visitor center and go watch a 15-minute film. So I did a lot of the music for those. That's Clyde and Elam and myself again. We're in Sop Choppy there at From the Heart. It was a cafe, now it's a recording studio.
No kidding.
Wow. We've premiered, locally premiered Living Waters there at that cafe one night. That's Local Waters. That's my first full-length nature film that I produced myself.
Wow. Who does the video work for you?
Me.
You do.
I'm the cameraman and editor and soundtrack writer.
Right.
That one doesn't have much narration. I was encouraged by Joe Hutto. Kept saying, well, you know, my movies are like music videos, but some people complain that there's not a narrative. They don't know what's going on, you know. He says, well, you should narrate yourself, you know. And I kept saying, no, I sound like an old hick, you know. And
they
says,
like that Southern accent.
He says, no, man, you got a rich voice. You ought to use it. So he encouraged me to do it. So I've been doing that.
Yeah.
More and more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy.
This is a Samuel Tedder film. Holy cow.
That's the back cover of that film.
Oh, okay.
And some shots, screenshots from it.
Well, you're the whole shooting match, aren't you? Photography and original music.
Mm-hmm.
Produced by.
Yeah, it's me. That's you know,
gotta...
like I'd said, I decided if I wanted to use saxophone, I had to do my own movie, so I did.
Now this looks like you got something.
Yeah, they gave me an award for River Obscura, Secrets of a Blackwater River, which totally shocked me.
Really?
At the Tallahassee Film Festival.
Well, now this is it right here, River Obscura.
Mm-hmm. Dark, yeah, and mysterious. Blackwater rivers can be intimidating to behold. I've often wondered what creatures live in this mysterious Blackwater River.
Well, how did you get into the producing? I mean, video. I mean, were you good with the camera? I mean,
Well, I've
somebody just go out and buy a camera and say, I'm going to do this.
yeah, I guess I don't know. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker or a cameraman ever since video cameras came out. Like in the early '90s, I got a camera, video camera, and it changed the way I saw the world around me.
Well, through this prism.
Well, yeah, that, but it just, like I took an art class and the same thing happened. I started looking at everything as how would I paint this? How would the perspective and the shading and the color. But with video camera, the first time I took it out, there's two broad-headed skinks mating, and I never had seen that before. It's like, yes, here's a subject. And, the world just started revealing itself to me in a whole new way.
Boy, you're slowing down and stopping and paying attention.
Right, exactly. And then, so even when I went on these, when I went on location to do these other people's films where I was doing the music, just the music, I always took my video camera and I would film of where I was. And when I got back home, I would use that to kind of for inspiration. Because the film would be 6 weeks away from me seeing anything to work with. But I would have been there and recorded what I saw there, the scenery and all that, and sort of give me a feel for what I wanted the music to feel like. What did I feel when I was there? I want to put that in the music and be a part of the soundtrack. And so I've been doing videography for a long, long time. But finally, like I was saying before, when they finally said, we parted ways with the saxophone, I said, well, I'm going to do it myself. And I finally got a decent enough camera to do that, because my early cameras were low res, especially those consumer cameras.
Right.
But when high def came out, then, eventually the prices got where somebody like me could buy a camera and make some good shots.
How do you do this? Is there methodology to your seeing a picture and hearing the music behind that picture?
It's an ongoing, simultaneous, but separate endeavor. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, when I'm out taking pictures, I learned that everybody sees the world differently because we're all individuals. And when you're out looking at things and seeing the world, you have your own way of looking at it. And that's really what the camera kind of brings out, that you show people what you're seeing. And so when you went out there, you're out there kind of showing the rivers and everything that you see it your way. And you're able to document what you're seeing your way.
Exactly.
And then after a while, you get a better camera and you get better visual things to look at as to how you're seeing the world.
Yeah, and the way I would, a lot of times I'll be out filming all, in the morning or the next morning I'll be up at 3 a.m. on the keyboard with my headphones and not even not looking at the footage or anything, but just playing music and coming up with a new idea. And then I'll start editing the video. In the meantime, I've recorded 7 or 8 songs already, and I'm not even thinking about if they're connected or not. But I'll start editing the video, and I finally get a good edit where everything makes sense. It looks good. There's no jump edits, and it has a movement to it, and something it's beautiful. Something neat happens. Then I go, gosh, what am I going to do for music? And I just start pulling up. So this is 3.5 minutes long. Do I have a 3.5 minute song?
Yeah.
And sometimes it works perfectly, just totally by accident.
Yeah.
And then sometimes if it's not exactly right, I can tweak the video to fit the music, or I can pull the film into my music software and tweak the music to fit the film. So I can work both ways.
Yeah.
Then I could just mesh it all together
Right.
the way I could feel it. And
Well, obviously you write music to the way you personally feel, and you probably take pictures the same way.
yeah, well, with the photography, it's like you have to have a subject, and if it's an animal, which is really what I'm looking for, you have to be prepared and not blow it, which I've done so many times.
Those animals just don't
They
cooperate, do
they don't stand there very long.
Too.
People wonder why I have so many snakes. Well, because they sit there longer. But yeah, you just and I always even every shot I do more than I need. I try different composition, different lighting, different focus, close, medium, long shot, all of that. And then you have to make a lot of decisions later what you're going to use. But as you pull it together on the timeline and you're adding it's easy just to manipulate things around. But it's a constant decision making. Should I use this? Should I not use this?
I see that with John. He spends hours and hours and hours, and finally he said, "No, okay."
Right. Yeah. Sometimes the very first thing you did was the best.
Right. Yeah, sometimes it works out that way.
Yeah. And so anyway, and then also there's like in one of the latest movie, River Obscura, there's a part where a redbreast brim has built its nest, and the females come in and they've spawned, and then for some reason, when I put my camera down in the water, he got freaked out and left the nest. But the male stays usually and guards the nest. Mm-hmm. Well, he left. And when he left, all these other little fish came in and started eating the eggs.
Oh.
And so, but at the last minute, he comes charging in and chases everything away. Things like that. That's a real action scene.
Right.
And so I sat there and watched that video and wrote music to go with that and timed it. Like when he comes in, I go, wow, with the drums and the cymbals and, the orchestra comes in, a lot of dissonance and scary stuff. And so I do watch the film on it depends on the clip. I composed it specifically for that scene.
Right. I can almost see you scoring this in your head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like you can only you can only play one part at a time, but usually it's some kind of a chord, so I can do a major chord or a minor chord or a dramatic diminished chord or whatever, and watching the film and trying to time it. This is when it gets scary. This is when everything's okay. At the end, it resolves, and so anyway, it's a lot of fun, really.
This reminds me of this.